Hey everyone, before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Stories like this deserve to be shared. The first time I noticed something had shifted, it was over the smallest thing. A coffee cup left on the counter, his hand brushing mine in passing, and the way he laughed half-hearted, like he was somewhere else entirely. His name is Daniel. We've been married for 8 years, and together we have 2 kids who are the center of my world. But somewhere between school runs, sleepless nights, and the endless grind of bills, Daniel stopped being my partner and became someone I didn't recognize. It started with subtle changes. He'd answer his phone in another room, texts popping up and disappearing in seconds. Once, I caught him smirking at a message and hiding the screen before I could see it. He claimed it was work stuff, but the unease in his eyes told me the truth was heavier than anything he'd admit. Nights became quieter. We'd sit at the dinner table, kids laughing at cartoons, while the space between us grew colder. One Friday night, after putting the kids to bed, I found him staring out the window, hands gripping the sill as if it could hold him steady. I asked what was wrong. He shrugged. He said, "Nothing." But his silence screamed louder than any argument we'd ever had. I wanted to reach him. I wanted to pull him close, make him feel loved again. But my words stuck in my throat. That night, I did something I'd never done before. I told him, plainly, brutally, what I'd been holding inside for months. "Daniel, you're just the father of my kids now. Everything else, it doesn't matter." The room went still. The ticking clock sounded like thunder in my ears. He didn't respond. Not a word. Just turned, grabbed his coat, and walked out. The door clicked shut behind him, and in that sound, my entire world fractured. Was it the end of us, or just the beginning of a truth I wasn't ready to face? The next morning, the apartment felt empty in a way that swallowed me whole. The kids were oblivious, laughing over breakfast, but every time I glanced at their innocent faces, guilt clawed at me. I had shattered something without knowing if it could ever be repaired. I stared at the empty spot on the couch where Daniel used to sit and realized that silence could feel heavier than any argument. Hours passed. My phone stayed quiet. No calls, no texts, not even a hint of where he'd gone. Panic settled in my chest. I tried to rationalize, told myself he just needed space. But deep down I knew. I had seen this look before, the way someone distances themselves before they vanish completely. Then the messages started appearing, not from him directly, but from his colleagues, his friends, cryptic, half-joking comments that didn't make sense until I pieced it together. Screenshots, tag photos on social media, hints that screamed betrayal. I scrolled with trembling fingers, each revelation a punch to the gut. Dinners with another woman, coffee runs where he claimed he was on the way home, laughter captured in pictures that weren't meant for me. I confronted him when he finally returned that night, the door swinging open as if nothing had changed. He walked in, calm, collected, like he hadn't been running from me or from us, but hiding something far more dangerous. The truth. "We need to talk," I whispered, voice shaking. He didn't sit. He didn't look me in the eye. Instead, he said, almost casually, "You already know." And then the confession came. Not an apology, not an explanation, just the raw, undeniable truth. He had been seeing someone else for months. Someone who made him feel alive in a way I hadn't. And all this time, he had maintained the facade of our life, of our family, while secretly building another one on the side. I wanted to scream, to break, to beg him to stay, but the words froze in my throat. I realized that I had been right all along. I wasn't the love of his life anymore. I was just the mother of his children. As he left again, I watched him go, wondering if this was a moment I'd remember as the day my marriage ended, or the day I found the courage to rebuild my life without him. That night, the apartment was quieter than I ever thought possible. The kids were asleep, their soft breathing a fragile reminder of what mattered most. I sat on the edge of my bed, phone in hand, replaying every word, every glance, every laugh I had shared with Daniel, and realizing how little of it had been real for him. The betrayal wasn't just about another woman. It was about the years he'd taken for granted, the love I had given unconditionally. I didn't call him. I didn't text. Part of me wanted to, the part that loved him despite everything, but the other part, the stronger part, knew I had to let him go. I packed a bag for the kids for the weekend and felt a strange calm settle over me. For the first time in months, maybe years, I felt the possibility of moving forward, not with him, but without him. The next morning when Daniel returned, he looked at me with that same unreadable expression, expecting perhaps forgiveness or pity or even anger. I didn't give him any of those. I gave him truth. "You're gone," I said, voice steady. "Not just tonight, not just this week. You left when you walked out that door, and nothing you say now changes that. You're just the father of my kids. Nothing more." For a moment he froze, as if my words finally landed where they had failed before. Then he tried to speak, but I held up my hand. "Save it. I don't need lies. I don't need excuses. The rest of your life doesn't include me." And just like that, he turned and walked away. For the last time. No dramatic shouting match. No public scene, no final plea. Just silence and closure that I didn't ask for but desperately needed. I stood there for a long time, listening to the emptiness, letting it settle like dust around me. And in that silence, I realized that heartbreak, betrayal, and shattered love can leave scars, but they also leave strength. I wasn't broken. I wasn't defeated. I was ready to rebuild, to love myself, and to show my children that even when people leave, life goes on, and so does hope. If this story hit you, share your thoughts in the comment below, and don't forget to subscribe, because even in heartbreak, there's a story worth telling and lessons worth learning.